The Kansas City Chiefs have just been named as a potential landing spot in a blockbuster trade that will be the talk of the off-season if it happens, but should it happen? What's up, everybody? I'm Daniel Booth here with your Chiefs news of the day. If you are new to my channel, I discuss Chiefs every single day. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button if you don't mind, and join in the conversation in the comments section below. So let's get right into it. Who are we talking about? You better have guessed it by now. We're talking about the cheetah, Mr. Tyreek Hill himself. So a writer in the interwebs has basically said that Bleacher Reports Christopher Knox has labeled Kansas City as one of the two most likely suitors for Hill in 2025 should he become available via trade. He also explained why the price could be much more reasonable than one think. Check this out. Trading Hill after June 1st would save Miami $16 million in cap space. He signed through 2026, but if he's truly unhappy with the Dolphins, Miami should strongly consider cashing in now. Miami can't expect to get back what is invested in Hill, first and second round picks, along with day three selections. But the Kansas City Chiefs, if they were to carry him next year, would only owe him about $10 million. The Miami Dolphins would have to carry the rest. And so therefore, he is basically saying that we could get Tyreek Hill for $10 million next year. And just like Kareem Hunt, we could be getting the band back together, man, getting the band back together. But here's the question. Should the Kansas City Chiefs get Tyreek Hill back? Now, before you say an absolute unequivocal yes, because that's my knee-jerk reaction as a lifelong Kansas City Chiefs fan, there's a lot to consider here with Tyreek Hill. One is that he's getting older. Two, he's not the player that he once was. And three, you kind of have to hate his attitude that he has had since he got to Miami. Remember when the Kansas City Chiefs traded Tyreek Hill back a couple years ago? He got there and immediately started dissing Patrick Mahomes. He wanted an ungodly amount of money. The Kansas City Chiefs made him a generous offer. Let's not forget that. Kansas City Chiefs tried their best to get Tyreek Hill to stay here in Kansas City, and he basically said, not enough money. And it was a pretty staggering amount. I don't have the figures in front of me. Somebody put them in the comment section below, but I think he wanted something like $30 million, and we offered him 26, and that like $4 million difference was enough for him to pack his bags and move to South Beach. So you have to think his reaction and his attitude leaving Kansas City. He gets to Miami, remember, and he immediately throws Patrick Mahomes under the bus, the Kansas City Chiefs organization under the bus, and basically says Tua Tua is just as good of a quarterback as Patrick Mahomes. And we all know what happened after that. How many times have the Miami Dolphins sniffed the Super Bowl with Tyreek Hill, and how many times have the Kansas City Chiefs gone there and won it without Tyreek Hill? So here's another article that I found that kind of supports my opinions on this, is that he has burned a lot of bridges there in Miami Dolphins. This coming from Hal Habib from the Palm Beach Post. The Palm Beach Post, he's writing, Miami Dolphins have no choice but to part ways with Tyreek Hill. The game against who did they play the other day? The Dolphins were playing, I can't remember. The New York Jets, that's right. Tyreek Hill basically benched himself in the fourth quarter, and after the game said that he wanted out. So the great Tyreek Hill, he writes here, the great Tyreek Hill experiment came to a conclusion Sunday night, or was it Sunday afternoon with Tyreek? Clear-cut answers never come easy, so we may never know exactly when his time with the Miami Dolphins reached the point of no return. But make no mistake, that's exactly where we are. So his teammates were very unhappy with how Tyreek Hill handled himself. He didn't play the fourth quarter of that game. Did he quit on the team? Maybe. But Hill had the benefit of the doubt on his side at game's end. He relinquished it the minute he told reporters he wanted out, as in he wanted out of Miami, not just out of that game. Because the Dolphins didn't qualify for the playoffs, Monday was clean-cut day in their facility. Hill wasn't there, at least not while the locker room was open to reporters. So basically, he says Tyreek Hill didn't sound like a team leader on Sunday. And know what else Hill is? A team captain. And basically, a team leader, he writes this: if your team leader is a guy who looks for the door at a time like this, what's it to say about him and about your team? You could also conclude it doesn't say much about those who voted him a team captain, but keep in mind that ever since he arrived, Hill was the one everybody knew would always go 100 miles an hour on every rep and every practice. So, yeah, he's a darn good football player. No one's ever questioning that. But Tyreek Hill, has he earned the right to come back to the Kansas City Chiefs, in your opinion, Chiefs fans? Because let's remember this. Kareem Hunt, he repented and he said all the right things. They were going to bring him back. They had a long meeting with him and they said, have you grown up, young man? Whatever sins he committed back in the day when he got in trouble and got booted out of Kansas City, he paid for. And so he came back and he has said all the right things, has kept his head down. And guess what? He may go be a Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowl champion. He may finally get that ring that eluded him. He should have been a Kansas City Chiefs champion this entire time. He should have been one of the great running backs in Kansas City Chiefs history. Instead, he flushed it all down the toilet and bounced around the NFL and was sitting on a couch when the Kansas City Chiefs called him. But he repented and paid for his sins, and now he's back and he is thriving. I don't know if Tyreek Hill has ever matured. I don't think that Tyreek Hill ever kind of grew up, and I think he's always just sort of thought he was the best, thought he was the cheetah, thought he deserved everything that he got. And again, he's a great football player. No one's questioning that. But do we want him on the team? We don't even know if it's going to happen, but I'm asking you, Chiefs fans, do you want Tyreek Hill back on this team? Let me know in the comment section below. We will do it all again tomorrow. As always, go Chiefs! Go Chiefs!